Hi everybody, I'm Dr. John Douillard. Welcome to LifeSpa.com, and today I want to talk about something called emotionally charging your food. I don't think a lot of us realize it, but when we actually eat our food, we actually are emotionally charging our food. That's the old statement that says when you eat standing up, death looks over your shoulder. And traditionally in Ayurveda, you would never eat if you were stressed out. You would just skip that meal. It was always understood when I would host a lot of the Ayurvedic doctors years ago from India, they would always want to cook their own food because the emotionally charged food that they would experience from other people cooking the food was really devastating to the quality of the food. They would make the statements, things like who grew the food, who carried the food to the market, who harvested the food, who cooked the food, who prepared the food. All that impression goes into your food. In one study, 80% of the bugs in the cheese making world comes from the bugs or the microbes on the fingers of the cheese maker. So it turns out that not only are these microbes everywhere, but they also carry impressions. Studies show that when people are stressed out, that stress actually changes the bugs in the gut. It has an impression that changes the bugs from good beneficial bugs to more unhealthy bugs in your gut. So that's really important to understand that emotional charge is something that is now scientifically being understood. If you take a little container of yogurt and scream and yell really stressed out, the bugs in the gut are going to morph based on that expression of that stress. So it's something that we have to become aware of. So eating in a relaxed, calm, what Ayurveda calls sattvic way, peaceful and calm, is really an important piece of the puzzle. Taking time to relax and eat your food. Not only does that activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest nervous system, so you actually can turn on all the biological clocks for being able to digest your food. When you relax and eat your food, when you're eating stressed out on the run in your car going here, that activates the fight or flight system, the sympathetic system, which literally tells your body, don't digest anything, run up a tree, save your life because there's a bear chasing you. And that's what happens in our world is we feel like we're always stressed out, we're eating stressed out, go, 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 eating as if it's a fuel station. So the interesting thing is that not only is it important to calm down because the biochemistry and physiology of your body is to say I can digest when I'm relaxed and I can't digest when I'm stressed, but there's an emotional charge that takes place on that level as well. And Ayurveda calls this something called the rasa. Rasa is a word that's used for the taste of your food and for emotion. So it's a word and also for your lymphatic system. And there's something that we create in our digestive systems called ahara rasa, which is that nutrient fluid that takes place through the entire intestinal tract. So from the Ayurvedic perspective, it's really important to make really wholesome nutrient fluid or ahara rasa. Rasa, which means emotion, which means taste, which means lymph. And the study of rasa is called rasayana, which is a study of longevity. So if you want to live a long life, you need to take some note to what the traditional Ayurvedic folks thought about what rasa really was. It was your entire lymphatic system. I've written an entire free ebook on that, many articles about the lymphatic system because it's so critically important for our health and nobody talks about it. So download our free Miracle of Lymph ebook. It's for free. That's really important to know about the lymphatic system. The taste of your food is the rasa, and of course the emotion. And it turns out that in India, when you eat with your hands, you're eating with your fingers, which provides an experience. In Ayurveda says that each of the fingers relate to one of the 5 elements, which relate to all of the different emotions that we can experience. Like your thumb is the Agni, is the fire, and the index finger is the prana, and the middle finger is the space or akasha or ether, and the ring finger is the Prithivi or the earth, and the pinky is the water. So when you eat with all 5 of your fingers, which they do in India, you're literally getting all 5 elements and engaging in all 5 major emotions, because each of these tastes provide an emotion, right? So if you eat really sweet foods, you're getting satisfaction. Bitter foods make you sort of bitter. Pungent makes you angry and jealous. So each taste has one. I have a whole article on the tastes of the foods and the emotions and the relationship to those emotions. So when you eat with all 5 fingers, you're actually, and that's why everybody says eat with all 5 tastes and all 5 fingers. It's all like a thing, right? They all did that. And I can tell you that there's a trick to eating with your fingers. And if you want to play with doing that because you're a fast eater and you don't like to settle down and you're constantly eating on the run, you might want to play with eating with your fingers. And when I did that in India, I was after many, many months of making a mess on myself, because when you eat with your fingers, it tends to drip, and I would get myself completely covered with food. And one time, about maybe 6 months into my training in India, my Ayurvedic teacher looked at me and he goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "What?" And I said, "I'm eating." "Why?" And he says, "Do you not know the flick?" I'm going like, "What is the flick?" And he says, "Well, the flick is when you take the food and you flick it into your mouth. You don't just try to stuff it in." So as a Westerner, right, they don't tell you how to do it. You just see everybody doing it. You figure you can do it, and you're trying to put the food in. It's tricky and not effective way of eating. So my teacher says, you have to flick the food. I'm going, "What's the flick?" So here's the trick. This is a golden tip that you can only get here. And that is when you take the food and you take it with your fingers, you actually have to take it and flick it with your thumb like that. So you flick it like that with your thumb, just like that. And so you take the food, you grab it with your fingers, grabbing it like that. And then you take it and you turn your hand over and you flick it into your mouth. So it looks like this. You take it, put it in your mouth, and you flick it. But you can't see the flick from the outside, right? So it's a secret little thing that makes all the world of a difference, because you flick the food right into your mouth and it works really well. Anyway, play with that. It's fun. It helps you relax. It puts you into your food. It's very, very important. But knowing that emotional charge of being sattvic, being connected, being aware of the fact that when you're eating your food, it's a kind of a merger of the intelligence of the food with your intelligence, all on a subtle level. And if you're stressed out, that stress is imparted into the emotion of that food. And that bugs that carry that emotion go into your gut. And now they're carrying that stressed out emotion into your digestive system. And the ahara rasa, which is the nutrient fluid, is now created by, in part, bugs that are stressed out. And those stressed out bugs don't allow the nutrient fluid, the rasa, to become what Ayurveda calls the development of the 7 tissues. The rasa, the lymph fluid, the nutrient fluid becomes your lymph, and then lymph becomes your blood, the blood becomes your muscle, the muscle becomes your fat, the fat becomes your bone, and the bone becomes your nerves, and finally you create what's called reproductive fluid, and then finally ojas, which is this very subtle fluid which is for vitality and immunity and resiliency. And I've written articles about ojas. It's quite an amazing substance. And but that all happens after about a 30-day period of digestion. Yes, 30 days it takes to complete this whole process. But if you started out stressed out and you create these bugs that are carrying the memory or the impression of stress, then you alter this beautiful process of creating the body's tissues through these enzymatic processes. So from the Ayurvedic perspective, being sattvic and eating in a relaxed way, being kind and caring of your food, how you prepare it, being really gentle and peaceful with your food, heating it at slow temperatures, all that makes such beautiful sense from the Ayurvedic perspective. I got a bunch of articles about this. This article is about the emotionally charged food. I've got articles on rasayana and articles on how the taste, each emotion that correlates with each taste. There's a lot of digging in and some fun articles for you to read up on if you like, at LifeSpa.com to find more about this. But you know, in Ayurveda, one thing that I know and I've learned over the years is the more subtle something is in Ayurveda, the more powerful it is. Think of the microbiome. We can't see them, but look what they do, everything. Look at the circadian rhythms. Again, Nobel Prize winning science. We can't see those circadian rhythms, but they regulate our biological clocks in every function in our body. So don't underestimate the power of the subtle. And eating in a relaxed way, you might think, oh, it doesn't make any difference. It does make a difference. And you may even want to try that. Say, go have a meal in your car driving and eating it, same meal, and then have that same meal in a relaxed way and see how you feel 2 hours different. Be mind-boggling different, because when you eat in that relaxed way, you'll digest it, it'll deliver energy. If you don't digest it because you're stressed, you create ama. Ama is the precursor to the disease process from a digestive perspective. So lots of really cool stuff here from the Ayurvedic world of digestion. Thanks for listening. I'll see you all next week. I'm Dr. John Douillard.